Most of our lives, they kind of follow a path. But for some people, their entire life is defined by one single moment. When that path splits, a profound choice at a crossroads that doesn't just change their destiny, but the destiny of thousands. So today, we're going to dive into the story of a man whose whole legacy was forged in a moment just like that.
Look, if you've ever been to a Lag BaOmer bonfire, or really any lively Shabbat table, you have probably heard this song. It's one of those amazing melodies that just seems to cross every boundary in the Jewish world. I mean, it's sung with the same fire from Casablanca to Jerusalem.
Okay, so let's get into it, because the story of the man who wrote this beautiful hymn, it is so much more dramatic than the melody lets on. It's a story about a sacred, lifelong dream, a totally horrifying discovery, and a single decision that would literally redirect the course of history for an entire community.
So let's meet the man, Rabbi Shimon Levi. He was, and I'm not exaggerating here, a complete Renaissance man of his time, a brilliant scholar, a mystic, a leader whose life was shaped by some of the most turbulent events you could imagine.
This timeline alone tells you so much. He was born in Spain, right on the edge of the expulsion. He spends most of his life as a refugee in Morocco, and then, get this, at an age when most people are thinking about retiring, he starts his greatest journey. His life spanned almost 100 years of total upheaval and change.
And he wasn't just some guy who survived his times. He was an absolute giant. A famous Kabbalist, a doctor people sought out, a community judge, and of course, a truly gifted poet. His whole life's work was this massive commentary on the mystical book of the Zohar, a work he called Kedem Paz, which means fine gold.
But for all the incredible things he did in Morocco, there was one singular dream that fueled his entire life. The dream of reaching the land of Israel. And for him, this wasn't just some goal. It was the entire purpose of his spiritual being. Now, this is what's so interesting. This reframes the whole idea of moving to Israel. This wasn't about nostalgia or just a pilgrimage. It was a spiritual necessity. For the Kabbalists back then, the land of Israel was the only place on earth that had, let's say, the spiritual bandwidth for prophecy. And this analogy just nails it. The source uses this perfect modern metaphor. Rabbi Lavi taught that the prophet Jonah wasn't trying to run away from God. That's impossible. He was running away from the land, the one place with the divine cell reception where he could get a prophetic message he really did not want to hear. So here's the crucial point. His entire life's work, his magnum opus, you can't separate it from this journey. He was absolutely convinced that his great commentary could only become truly perfect if he finished it inside the land of prophecy itself. Okay, so let's get to the journey itself, because this is where everything builds. After decades of dreaming, now in his 60s, Rabbi Lavi finally sets sail for the Holy Land. He's on his way, and his ship makes a stop in the port city of Tripoli in modern-day Libya. Now, this was supposed to be just a quick layover, the final pit stop before he finally realized his lifelong dream. But what he found in Tripoli, it just stopped him dead in his tracks. He discovered a Jewish community that was in a state of almost total collapse. They were so cut off from their own heritage that, and this is the detail that gets me, they didn't even know the right prayers for Shabbat. And this reality just slammed him with an impossible choice. This just lays it all out, the staggering weight of this dilemma. On one side, you've got his personal destiny, the climax of his life's work, his direct line to the divine, and on the other, the desperate, immediate needs of an entire community about to just disappear. What do you do? So how does a person choose between the perfection of their own soul and the survival of an entire community? Well, Rabbi Lavi didn't just flip a coin. He looked for the answer where he always looked, deep inside the wisdom of the Torah. He turned to this classic rabbinic idea, but he used it with this incredibly unique and powerful insight. For him, this wasn't some dusty, abstract legal concept. It was the key that would unlock his very real, very human crisis. His logic was just as simple as it was profound. A prophet, he thought, even the greatest prophet standing in the middle of Jerusalem, is only a prophet sometimes. The divine signal, it comes and goes. But a sage, a wise teacher, he is a sage constantly. His wisdom is always on, always there for the people who need him. And that right there led him to his decision. He basically concluded that his constant, active wisdom as a teacher in Libya was more urgently needed than his potential, maybe once-in-a-while flashes of prophecy in Israel. He decided to trade his personal spiritual peak for the community's foundation. So, what happened?
What was the result of this incredible act of self-sacrifice? Let's take a look at what he actually built in all those years after making that fateful choice in Tripoli.
He abandoned his dream. He never saw the land of Israel. Instead, for more than 35 years, think about that, more than 35 years, he dedicated the rest of his long life to rebuilding the community he had found in total ruins.
He didn't just teach them a few things. He rebuilt their entire world from the ground up. He established their customs, he founded their schools, he became their central spiritual and legal guide. He almost single-handedly revived a community that was on life support, and he earned the title that he still holds today, the father of Libyan Jewry.
And this just brilliantly shows the ultimate trade-off. His personal masterpiece, his book of fine gold, it was never fully completed. He sacrificed that perfection. But in its place, he created a living, breathing, communal masterpiece. A legacy written not on parchment, but in the lives of people.
And that leaves us with this really powerful question that goes way beyond the 16th century. The story of Rabbi Shimon Lavi really forces us to ask ourselves, what is a truly great legacy? Is it the perfect thing we create for ourselves, or is it the imperfect but absolutely vital difference we make for others?